everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of 31 Days of Indie Horror. I'm your host, Jonathan Moody, and I've got my co-host from Indie Film Cafe with us today. How are you doing, Paul A Presenza?
Yay! That's your old pal, Paul A Presenza, otherwise known as the Moo Cow, here with Continuity Monkey.
All right, we'll find out if we needed him for this one. And we've also got a special guest we haven't had on the show before yet, but we're really excited to have her here. How are you doing, Jessa Daisy?
Well, I'd like to be called Jessa Flux, if that's okay.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Jessa Daisy, let me tell you a story about that. May I?
Sure.
Sure.
Okay. So, Jessa Flux is my stage name for like everything, right? But my real name is Jessica Daisy, and it's not like a secret or anything like that, but like somebody kept reporting me using a false name on Facebook, and I had to like give them a picture of my ID, and that the only like thing that they would let me do is just do Jessa Daisy. So that's why it's like a different name. That's so confusing for people, and I hate it.
They don't believe your last name is Daisy, is that it?
Well, it's my middle name, but they allowed it.
Gotcha.
I think they don't believe that Jessa Flux one.
Yeah,
right?
The Flux is what they were like, who the hell is this? You know?
Yeah. So okay. Well, all right. Well, Jessa Flux. That's how you're gonna, be announced today. Okay.
Well, yay!
Sounds
Welcome
good.
to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We're just happy to have you here. We're very excited to have you here.
Very excited.
So we're here to talk about a little movie made in 2021 called Bearry. It came out in 2021. It might have been made earlier because
This was probably made earlier.
I would imagine earlier because this was this was post COVID then, So I'm guessing they made this earlier and then it came out in 2021. But this movie I'm really excited to talk about because I know the director who did it also did a little movie called at a part of with Ugly Sweater Party, and that was a great movie. If you guys have not seen that one, it is a lot of fun. And so I was really excited for this one for the longest time. Alexander T. Wang did it, and he's amazing. And the cast is amazing. We'll get into that. So Jessa, since this is your first time kind of on these shows and everything, what was your first, obviously you never even heard of this movie, so what was your first thought of this movie?
Thought before I saw?
Yeah, thought about before you saw, and then what did you think after?
Okay, well, whenever you asked me to be on this podcast and told me it was a movie called Bearry, I thought it was really funny because in 2016, I made an adult content video, okay? And it was called Bearry. And it was a huge, just to describe it a little bit, it was a huge bear, just like in the movie, with the strap-on on, which they mention in the movie. By the way, they were like, yeah, they were just like, I'm about to buy a strap-on for Bearry, if whatever. But yeah, so I thought that this was a hilarious video, and sexy, but unfortunately nobody else did because it sold like shit. It was not well received at all. But I loved it. It was it's probably my favorite video that I've ever made.
Do you still have that up for sale?
I was about to say,
absolutely, I have that.
I have no doubt we would love that.
I mean, I think people after hearing this might want to buy it.
That's right. Your sales are going to go up.
Yeah, I'm down to sell it. I think people are just they're disappointed. They're like, that's not a real person. I'm like, but it's Bearry. And I called him that during the video, multiple times. I'm like, oh, Bearry, you're such a strong gentleman or whatever. It's ridiculous.
Make sure you put her links on there.
I definitely will. So Bearry, did you call it Bearry, or was it
yes, I called it Bearry. That's why I was like, oh my God, this is so close to my heart.
All right. Well, see, it was so funny because when I did ask you to come on, I just picked a movie out of Tubi. You literally did not know.
And it's funny because I had it on my list. Remember, I told you, I was like, oh yeah, I was gonna do this for Indie Film Cafe. So this was perfect timing.
It was funny because this movie could have been a What the Fuck Friday too, in a way. This has a little bit of that, but it's more Indie Film Cafe. It's more silly, but not as much what the fucky,
yeah,
except
and
at the
that's kind of one of the things I had an issue with, is that it could have gone there, but it really didn't.
I think it restrained itself for the Hollywoodness of it, you know, like it did not
which is ridiculous, honestly. Like the opening credits, that animation reminded me of like PC games I played whenever I was like 7 years old. Like it was very like rudimentary. It was not like advanced at all. But the opening song was such a banger. Did you guys like dance a little? I did.
I did. I was banging my head a little bit. Yeah.
Of course, shake my cow butt a little bit.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
It was cute. And like I could actually say that about this movie too. Like this movie was cute. You know, like
yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised because I had a feeling it would be the way it was, but I had no idea. You never know when you're watching this kind of thing.
The thing is that, you know me, I don't like slasher movies in general. I like supernatural slashers. So this is kind of a supernatural slasher, although, because
I feel like we needed a backstory, though.
Right, there's no explanation other than Magic Bear. However, it does fall into the trap that I have with slasher movies in general, when you get people who get killed who don't deserve to get killed. And that always bugs me, because then I'm not on the killer's side. I'm not on Barry's side.
Which
like
fuzzy.
Like sexy Casanova guy that gets killed.
Like the first nice guy that she likes gets killed, and then he goes after the second nice guy, and then I'm like, well, Bearry, you went from being an avenging, protecting angel bear to being another jerk in her life that's now, obsessing over her and controlling her.
But I think, wasn't that the point, though? Like, that's sort of the point of the bear, is the bear becomes obsessive, much like many of her boyfriends, have been.
I was kind of hoping it was going to be more like overprotective big dog in the house,
That murders.
Yeah.
With stabs.
See, this movie had one thing that I was kind of disappointed by too, which is it had the wish thing, which I love. Like, I love the whole idea of like, I wish, Bearry, I wish, this person lost his head, like, or whatever. And then he loses his head. I love that part. And then I was hoping it would do more wishes like that, but it didn't end up having the wishes. She just talked to the bear about like the people or whatever. And then he got upset and started killing
them. And that's another issue I had with it, because to me, I think you need to actively have intent in your heart for an evil wish for it to come true like that. I don't think accidentally having said something like that and have it come true, that's kind of lame. That's kind of like, man, no, you shouldn't do that.
I was like, is this an accidental secret genie in a bear costume? Like, you know what I mean? I was like, if there was going to be wishes, I'm okay with the accidental wish, but I think that they should have kept it consistent. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was more along the lines of like Bearry was whenever, and I wish we had gotten more of this. We sort of got a little bit of it when she was in the shower, but like, I wish we got more of it where he like, we see him sneak out and stuff, because at first it kind of gives you that feeling of like, is it really the bear or is it something else? Right? Is it somebody else that's killing them, that's overhearing it? And they even kind of do that in the plot synopsis, kind of says, basically, is it a stalker? Is it the bear? Is it, and I'm like, I don't like that. Like, I wish it, I wish maybe. Uh-oh. But, but I wish it did that. Like, I wish it showed more of that,
Well, yeah, there's a lot of like weird kind of supernatural stuff that I think was, if the narrative had been worked on a little bit more, maybe they could have ironed out a few things. Clearly the bear is supernatural for a lot of reasons, other than the fact that he immediately knows exactly where to go for these people. He's never been into their play homes before, but he knows exactly where they're at.
Well, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you guys this really quick, though. Did you think that the bear, like that random woman with the hoodie that was following her around could have been in the bear costume? Like living in her bear costume? Because I thought maybe that person was obsessed with her.
Maybe. Well, no, at first it looked like it could have been that, but then she got killed by the bear. So
right. I thought they were teasing with that a little bit, though. Like, it could be that's the psycho.
She was like a variation on the theme of that. There's always that one crazy guy who knows what's going on, and he says, "Oh, you better not do this or go up to that cabin because blah blah blah." And it turns out they're right. Well, she's kind of a variation of that, except she's actually involved with the whole thing, and that's
And
kind
she's
of her.
crazy too. Like, let's mention
that.
She thought there's like reptilian people.
Hey,
and
look, I want that movie. I want that movie. I was actually saying that to the girl who plays that character. I was like, I'm so mad that your character died because I want a reptilian battle, and I want you to be right and everything. And she said, well, it could be my twin.
Or
and
did
I was
she?
like,
Because I kind of thought that the second nice guy, Steve, died.
That's
because
true.
He didn't get stabbed, but then all of a sudden he shows up, which is odd because he's like showing up holding his wound. It's like, why did you drive to the hospital, you idiot?
He wanted to save her. Come on, from the gigantic bear. But how did he even know that the bear was coming after her, though?
Yeah, it's a little sloppy. It's a little sloppy. It's cute. It's a little sloppy.
We gotta talk real quick about how cute it was that Felissa Rose, who's in the movie, who played Angela in Sleepaway Camp, has a daughter named Angela in the movie. Yeah. Because she kept saying Angela, and I was like, "Are you talking to your character from Sleepaway Camp?" Like that was
wow,
cute. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
No,
I was expecting at the end where I wasn't even sure if she was dead or alive or what. I was expecting her to do the famous scream face.
Like, yeah. But yeah, no, she was there was a girl from, you've seen Sleepaway Camp, I'm sure. Jessa,
yes.
And Felissa Rose played Angela, and then the character, the first thing I popped up, because I see so many times people actually call her character name her Angela in movies, and I hate that. So I liked it that they actually did it for the daughter, and I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, that was cute. I like that.
Yeah. So I was okay with that. And it was actually the daughter of the guy, the main the boyfriend that she liked, the waiter. And I thought he was amazing. I thought he did a great job in this movie. He was a lot of fun. Other than the fact that he shows up at her house where and knows the bears, and when he's never been told that she has a big bear, or whatever. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I never considered that. So like, did he, because he comes in, he goes, "It's the bear," remember?
Right.
So like, did he see like the bear in her bedroom? Just imagine like going to someone's house and you're having like a sexy time, and you go into their room and it's just a huge bear on the bed. Like, would you not feel a little uncomfortable?
Yeah, and he should never have made the connection between killer stuffed bear and her,
right,
because he was never introduced. That's why I said it's a little sloppy.
They should have had a scene where he came to the house and was like, "Oh wow, you got a big bear."
Huge bear.
Right. So like later it could be introduced, but you never see that scene. And if that scene was in the movie, I think it would have made it a little bit more sense. But even then, you didn't even notice it. So I don't think a lot of audience members would notice that stuff. So,
right. I didn't.
I'm all about details. I get obsessed over them.
Yeah.
I did notice one detail that I was like, I think they messed up. The boss guy that got killed, that like interviewed her, was going to interview her for the position and making all those like innuendos. When he got killed, he was getting stabbed and he had blood on his feet already.
Yep.
Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Also, when he goes after Steven, he's got blood on his face, but he hasn't done anything yet. We already saw him clean up. So there are a number of continuity issues.
Oh, that's why you brought the monkey out.
Okay. Part of the overall sloppiness, which is a shame, because if they spent a little more time on the narrative and a little more time kind of cleaning up some of the bits and pieces and odds and ends, this would be like a home run, because it's got everything you could possibly want. The acting was really, really good. I thought the direction was good. All the production stuff was good. I'm not, I despise CGI blood and CGI effects like that. They're just cheap and crappy. But in a movie like this, where you've got a killer stuffed bear, I'm okay with it.
You let that slide.
I let that slide.
I mean, considering the fact that there's a killer stuffed bear, right? Like,
And a lot of
Right.
times,
Realism's out the window at this point.
well, also, I mean, and there was some like, fake blood on the bear at times. And I'm like, is that easy to like wash off, or whatever?
Yeah, because then
No.
he would go back to the bedroom and he would be clean again.
Well, did you notice how many like, how many was it paper towels it took for him to like wipe all the blood off or whatever? And I thought that was really funny because he like put it in the trash bin of the guy he murdered. Like
Right.
that's usually the sloppiest move of any
bear don't care.
Well, I guess there's no DNA for a bear, so he ain't worried about it.
He's leaving little bits of stuffing behind. But like nice guy number one, he goes over and he kills him with a knife. There should be arterial spray all over that kitchen wall. They didn't have anything there. Mm-hmm. And then when Jerky Husband gets it with the chainsaw, are you kidding? A chainsaw? There should have been blood and chunks of stuff everywhere, but no. So yeah, they didn't really have a lot of moolah to spend on the effects and some of the makeup and stuff like that. And again, it's very cartoony, so I'm okay with letting that stuff go. But the overall sloppiness of it just makes me wish for something a little bit better, a little bit tighter. But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So still fun.
Jessa, what was your like? You said you had some notes. What were some of the things that you noticed or thought?
Okay. Well, I noticed that her husband was turning like in the very beginning when they were having that sex scene, he was turning so beet red that I was like, I think he needs to be like checked for high blood pressure. Like this man is like his face was so red, like he was giving it his all. I don't know, but like.
Wait, also, so you're telling me you've never had a guy just turn beet red on you? And
well, I think it was a sunburn because it was his neck and the side of his face, and when
but I think depending it was like on how he was flushed.
Right, depending on how he was shot, it looked really, really red sometimes, and then not quite so red. So I think it was just sunburn that was just shot at a weird angle. But I picked that up too.
Yeah, I was like, are you okay? Like, do you need a glass of water? And then also the main actress, I thought she was Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like at first, because she totally looked like her, just like disappointed in the bed after, that scene happened.
How awesome would it be if Bearry took his head off and Danny DeVito was in there?
I would love that. How hyped were you guys when Bearry first moved? When you very first saw Bearry move? Like I like awesome. Jumped up.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
Oh yeah, because the whole time he was not moving whatsoever, right. And then all of a sudden, when I forgot who it was or whatever, when I guess it was the ex-husband grabbing the ring or whatever, and he just kind of goes like that, and I was just like, all right, that's pretty cool. Like I dug it.
So they must have had like a small person or a teenager or a taller kid in the costume.
I don't know. That was a big fucking bear. That was a big bear.
It was really big.
Was tall for a stuffed bear, but even when you noticed when she was standing next to her, I mean, Sarah French isn't very big. It was shorter than her, so it must have been a smaller person.
Maybe, but I don't think it needed like a little person in there or anything like that, or a kid. I don't know. Maybe a teenager was in there. I don't know. But it was interesting because what I started noticing was, and I don't know if you guys picked this up at all or if I'm just imagining things, but it looked like, because it was a stuffed bear at times, and then it was a person in a costume at times, it looked like two different bears when they did it. Yeah. That's sort of what I noticed. And so there were times where he looked like he had something like the little ribbons, and then when he didn't or whatever. And that was maybe a continuity error that I sort of picked up on, that I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I said as a filmmaker, I go, I get it, like I get that. Like you can't have the bear look exactly like the other, you know what I mean? Sometimes, so right. Whatever.
And, of course, I'm just going to overlook the fact that since he's a stuffed bear without hands or fingers, or opposable thumbs, he can't really grasp anything or use his paws to function in any kind of realistic way. That's all right.
He grabbed the knife at one point. Yeah, he grabbed the knife.
Like, the Powerpuff Girls have those little stubs. They can grab stuff. So I guess it works.
Whatever. It's once again, it's cartoony, like you said. So it's like you can forgive a lot of stuff, but after a while, it's like, okay, how much can we actually forgive? So you had some more stuff, Jessa?
Oh, there was a quote. Come on, you fuzzy fucker.
I like
was
that one.
Probably the best quote of the movie. That's whenever the creepy, like crazy lady was like, come on and get me or whatever. That was pretty good. Like, could you imagine saying that to anybody? Come on, you fuzzy fucker. Like,
you didn't say that to your Bearry?
I say it to this guy every now and again.
I should have. But yeah, I hope that one day, only one day, I will get a chance to play like a killer bear, like to just be in the bear the whole time. Like that sounds like the role for me. Like that's what I want.
You know, they could always make a part 2.
Bearry 2. There you go.
Cast you in it, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not that tall, so it would probably work.
You wouldn't want to be terrorized by the bear or have to fight the bear?
She could.
I could play both.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you just get somebody else during the scenes with you, and then you're in the other scenes. You know,
or I could just make it even worse and just like flash the bear around, like slash it around myself, like it's really like killing me. Like really, just make it cheap. You know what I mean?
What about a stuffed cow? Could you work with that?
I could. I used to have a blow up cow. Strangely
we got to work with this, Moody. Come on, work with me here.
What awesome did you have a name for the blow up cow?
No, it was a gag gift I got for an ex of mine. It was a like one of those like blow up dolls
with a hole in the butt.
Yes,
I've got that. And when you turn it upside down, it goes.
Yes, that's it. Yep.
Wow. Wait, you still got it, right?
No, it like eventually I just kept it inflated all the time, and eventually like something punctured it.
Oh,
mine's at the studio.
Yeah, his is actually at our Indie Film Cafe studio, and what yours is named Bessie, right?
Bessie.
Oh my goodness! So he actually named his.
Yeah, somebody bought that for me. He's like, "Well, we know you love cows." I'm like, "Perfect."
I don't think they did they realize what it was, or did they?
Oh,
not?
they knew.
Oh,
they knew.
All right.
I think they make it pretty clear on the packaging.
Yeah, I think so.
Lord, that's funny.
Well, they knew that I like cows and I have a weird sense of humor, so they figured it was perfect, and it was.
It was, yeah. They're at the studio. It's one of our mascots, you know, that we got there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, anything else? Did you have other things that you wanted to share about it?
Not really. Honestly, I thought it was a good movie. Like the whole, like I was excited to continue watching it. Like I watched a lot of like more indie films where I'm just like, I'm not even following what the hell's going on. You know what I mean? It was like, I thought it was put together well. Like I know that there was some cracks in like, you know, the storyline and things like that. But as far as like entertainment wise, like I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's amazing because, you know, and I've had this discussion with you before, Moody, is that there are times when movies are not doing the things they should do, but because they're doing the things they are supposed to do so well, you're willing to forgive it.
Yeah.
You know, and there are times when it, you know, the same things can happen in a different movie that's not doing as well, and it just annoys the hell out of you and you hold it against it. Whereas a movie like this, you're much more willing to forgive it because it's problematic, but it's still fun and it was still done well, you know, at least well enough.
Yeah. I see, that's the thing I really loved about the movie was it was just so silly that I had a good time, you know?
Yeah.
And it's an hour and 30 minutes or 32 minutes, something like that.
A little less than that, actually, like an hour and 24.
Okay. Well, there you go. But it even felt like less than that, you know, because it just went by.
It moved along. It moved along really well.
I mean, I watched on Tubi. I don't know if you guys watched on Tubi as well.
Yeah, I did. Have a copy.
Yeah. And so it has, what is it? Commercials and stuff. But other than that, like it moved along really well and I enjoyed it.
And you know me and how much I love stuffies and squeaky toys. And so this is like right up my dark, scary alley.
Yeah. Which I literally was not the reason I picked you at all, or whatever. Picked like this. I just I was going through Tubi. I think I was at your house, Paul, and we were just going through Tubi trying to figure out something to watch. And I said, this. And then Jessa told us that she made a whole, the whole content, for this before. And I was just like, that. Wow, it seems like the stars sort of align sometimes.
It really did. It really did.
It was fate.
Yes. Exactly. And I really do believe that sometimes, for certain things in Indie Film Cafe and the stuff that we do, you just never know. But I think all in all, this movie was fun. It was it had its moments where it was a little silly. Yeah, and at least at the beginning, I thought, oh man, Paul's gonna love the fact that they're killing off all the douchebag characters or whatever. And then he becomes, Bearry becomes a douchebag and he starts killing off other people. So it's kind of a bummer. But
yeah, the acting I thought was pretty good though. Sarah French does a good job as always, and you feel bad for her, and you want her to sort of have a nice resolution. And then Felissa Rose was such an obnoxious, ridiculous friend. I loved her. She was a lot of fun.
She was my favorite, by the way. Yeah. Like I wrote down, like, I love her acting. I was like, she is good. I believe her.
You believe her as like this sort of like...
She looked like she totally downed that one glass of wine. She was like, gulp, gulp, gulp.
She was so fun though. Like her character would, when the detectives, we forgot about the detectives.
She like busts in and incriminates her friend by like saying like, oh my God, that's what he had coming and everything. And they're just like, oh my God, is she saying that like you killed this man? Like,
right. And then she's like, no, I wasn't trying to implicate her. Okay, I'm
that
going.
That dog deserved it.
And I just like, she was like, my friend drinks a lot. Like, perfect.
And Vernon Wells from Road Warrior.
Yeah, Road Warrior, Weird Science, a ton of different things. I love Vernon Wells, and he's such a nice guy, period, whenever you meet him at the conventions and everything. But the fact that he does movies like Bearry, like, and he's has a name like to him, like he's done a lot of great stuff. So like, it's just amazing to see him do this. And he was having fun with it.
Oh yeah, I imagine when all the actors, when they saw this and they're like, and they were given the opportunity for this, they're like, work at a killer stuffed bear movie? Sign me up.
I mean, that would be my reaction.
Seriously.
Honestly. Well, absolutely.
Right.
I'd be hyped.
I think the problem I had with the detectives though is the end of the movie when they go chasing after, and I was like, okay, too many weird like coincidences. Sort of happened, like them driving down there. Oh, we see the truck, right? Oh, the bear's hanging on the cop car. Like, how did he know that what I mean? All that stuff. And then, but that was a cute scene. That was a great shot of like him on the car. I'm just saying, it was just so silly. And then later, how did Bearry get to them before the cops did? And why did the cops just randomly just appear like that? Like I think the editing was off on that, scene.
Convenient. And you know me, I nitpick about cops. They weren't very good as far as being cops. Right. Like I remember
they're very hokey.
At one point, they're like, "Oh, we have all the evidence I need." I'm like, "Well, no, you don't have any. Actually, you have zero evidence. You have circumstantial at best. Nobody's going to write you a warrant for what you've got. So it's blame sauce."
Yeah, I mean, what, the guy was talking to the girl on the phone? Like, so what?
Oh my God.
Yeah, that kind of annoyed me at one point, because I'm just like, because we write cop stuff now, and everything, and I try to be as realistic as possible. Yeah, and I play a cop, and we try to be as realistic as possible, but it's still supernatural, so you can do what the fuck you want at times, but you still have to have a realism when it comes to that stuff. So
right, and that's the thing. Unless you are going for adult cartoon, which this movie was, unless you're going for that, you need to have any kind of fantasy grounded in some kind of reality, or else it's just Bugs Bunny stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean? And nobody's going to take it seriously.
So what did you think of the cops, Jessa?
Well, like I said, I think that they the acting and like the characters for them were kind of hokey. Like I wasn't really looking at like what they had as far as like evidence to like convict somebody or anything. I was thinking like out of all the characters, they were the least believable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Other than the bear. Other than Bearry.
Well, Bearry was more believable, I think. Cops,
I do. Yeah, actually.
I did like that first moment where he's like going crazy and he breaks the mirror or not breaks the picture.
Photo.
Yeah, and he's pissed. And then you're like, okay, Bearry, you went from being kind of cute and protective to being psychopath.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because I don't think he was ever actually supposed to be protective. He was going to kill that guy whether she made that wish or not. If he knew who that guy was, he was going to kill that guy because he was a threat to him, as the bear. We don't know that. We think he's protecting, and then he kind of turns.
Well,
and you realize
he's not a threat to the bear. He's a threat to her.
Right, but to the bear, because the bear wants her. So yeah. He thought
but
that
why does the bear want her?
Because it was said
because she said I love you too, Bearry, or something like that, right?
I love you very
much.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and once they say that magical word is what the what the girl with the hoodie said. Once they say that magical word, which I think they said the name. I can't remember. Sherry Davis is the girl who played that character, but I don't really remember the character's name. Because I don't even know if it was ever said or not.
I don't think so.
So was there a way that they passed the bear on from like that character to the main character? Like,
right. Where did Felicity Rose even get the bear?
And why
it's been killing people?
Here's the thing. It said that he chooses the people, right? She said that too. So wait, so that means that he chose Felicity Rose to give to that, you know what I mean? Like that didn't make much sense on that.
It's a little sloppy.
It would have been better, honestly, if he just showed up at the house. Like, remember we watched Gamebox 1.0 and somebody just delivers the bear or the not bear, but the package. But like if they had delivered the bear to the house, and that was just it. The bear's just there. She opens up the door and there's Bearry.
Or I was thinking Ginger Dead Man, where you just see 5 seconds of his mother delivering the box of his ashes there and then leaving without saying a word. Yeah. And then in your head, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's where he came from. But yeah, and again, the wish thing does bug me then, because it's like it never works for anything else. You never see, oh, I wish for $1 million and that worked. And nothing ever seems to work. It always activates killers.
Right. Well, that's the thing with wishes. Be careful what you wish for. That's always a theme for movies or whatever. If you wish something, if you think this is it goes back to that monkey's paw story. Like if you ask for something, if you think, oh man, I'm going to get $1 million, you're going to get the $1 million, but a bad thing is going to happen to get the $1 million. Somebody's going to die and leave it to you in your will or whatever, and so whenever you make a wish in these movies, it's always a bad wish. In real life, that doesn't necessarily happen, but in the movies,
it doesn't.
No, if I wished for something, I'm not going to probably get it. I don't know.
Well, you obviously, that's part of the message of that is, wishes are bad. Don't want things, because if you want something, it'll turn out terrible for you. So don't bother. Be thankful with what you got.
Exactly. And I think that is sort of the theme for a lot of these movies. Be thankful for what you have. And she wanted a relationship,
but did she though? Because it seemed like her friend like the other guy friend, they were the ones urging her to get out there and find someone else. Like, I think she was just trying to like suffer in her sadness from the breakup. And her friends were just like, no, we're getting you out there. I've ordered this bear off of Amazon that's cursed. It's yours. It's going to keep you company. Like, I mean, like the friends were like the catalyst for everything bad that basically happened.
if
when you think
Felicitas
about it.
Rose would have been a real friend, if she actually had given Bearry a strap on, then none of this would have happened.
Exactly. There you go.
Bearry would have been satisfied.
Yes.
That's right. And so would she.
I think so too. I don't know. There was one bit where she wakes up and she has the bear like all over her like that. And I was like, oh man, Bearry was trying to get some. Like, and she even said
and
something.
that's the other thing. Bearry pretty much starts to rape her at one point. So it's another strike against it. I'm like, again, I thought I was rooting for Bearry. I can't root for something doing that. That's horrible.
But was the bear raping her or just dry humping her? Because she had all of her clothes on.
Yeah. He was trying. He might have been trying. I don't know.
I feel like it was more like when a dog gets really excited and jumps on you and starts humping your leg. Like that's what Bearry was doing in my mind. Like not rape.
Not that it feels any better. I mean, I certainly wouldn't want to have that happen either.
True.
But there was no consent given. That's the point.
I do want to go back to, you guys were talking about the friends, and one of the friends was Charles Chudabala, who's in a bunch of these movies. I think he was in Ugly Sweater Party as well, and I adore that guy. But he played the gay friend who was just really super, Lewis, who's just super excited to help her, get her and get a guy or whatever. And Yeah, I love that. I love that scene. Like he was like, if you don't take him, I will, and shit. I thought that was so cute, and their relationship was great. And you can sort of see that all these people that act in these movies all know each other. They all hang out. They all, and you can tell they've already got a rapport. So it didn't feel like awkward at all. It felt like a bunch of friends hanging out, making a movie and stuff. And I thought that was great. But it was, some of those dates were just hilarious. Like, I mean, I'm sure you've been set up, Jessa, for some terrible blind dates or, whatever. And
I'm generally not a person that just goes and meets people. Like I'm scared of people in general. But there was one date that like hit home for me, and it was like a guy playing a video game. Like I've dated that guy before. Like it's completely ignored me for a video game. So like I was like, ooh. Yeah, I'd get out of there. And then whenever she left, he calls her a bitch. Like,
yeah, because that's like,
I'm like, you incel. Like, what's wrong with you?
It would have been cool if Bearry killed all those guys too. Just like, you know what I mean? Like,
just knocked them off.
Yeah, because
it reminded me of Coming to America. Because when Eddie Murphy's playing the prince, he has to go through all of that too. Where he's meeting all of these crazy New York women, and then it's the same sort of thing, only worse with these guys.
Maybe that was a little bit of a,
a throwback.
Maybe it was an homage to Coming to America. Maybe, I don't know. All I know is it does have that feel, but it also has, like, I think there's a lot of like comedies that like romantic comedies these days that have the people on meeting, having the blind dates, and it usually does not go well. And then, of course, she just ends up with the bartender guy, the waiter, and I absolutely thought he was great for her.
A nice guy who was in plain sight all along.
Exactly. Which I'm like wondering why she never asked him like out, or he never asked her.
Because like in real life, that guy usually gets ignored.
That's true.
That is true. Usually for the douchebags, but she did meet a really nice guy, a couple of nice guys. She met the
because seriously, like her radar is way off. How could she not pick up on the fact that A, the husband was a raging douchebag, and B, the boss was clearly a raging douchebag? This is like,
I feel like you would have known that before you went to dinner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like out of the blue, all of a sudden he's talking about like sexual innuendo. Like, no, he surely did that around the office first.
Right. And on top of that, like he was even saying like in the phone calls, like, give me a girl with big tits the next time, or whatever, like he was like already, like acting like that. It was no surprise, I don't think so.
Well, and plus it's inappropriate to be going out on a dinner date with your boss while they're supposed to be interviewing you, and that's not appropriate. That's not how things work.
Yeah, usually you do that at the office or whatever, which could have worked for that scene if they had it at the office, you know, and
I mean,
he
if it's a
just kind of
small company and you already know each other, you might be able to get away with that after you've gotten the position as a way of saying, let's celebrate. But to
yeah,
not
but I
have it.
think that what they were trying to say is that like a lot of creepy guys will try to like get you in a weird situation. So I think he thought like, hey, I can get her to go out with me, get her a few drinks or something, and maybe she'll put out. And then I'll say like, this is how you get, you know, your promotion or whatever. So I think he was like putting her in a bad situation, like in a unsafe, creepy situation in the first place. But as a person that like, you know, needs a promotion and she's already gone through a divorce and she's probably feeling pretty bad, she's probably like, yeah, anything I can get like to get a boost, you know what I mean? So she's probably like, whatever, I'll go to this dinner and see how it goes.
Although she did pick up the fantastic new job pretty quickly and without any details whatsoever. So.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what that new job was. Like, what? And what was her job before?
Don't know.
Did anybody ever?
I don't actually know, but I have a feeling she's just working at that like bar and restaurant now.
Yeah, maybe that was the new job. Well, was she? I don't know, because like they didn't, you know.
No, because we never saw her working there.
We never saw her working there, and then on top of that, she would have said something like, are you allowed to date me, being my coworker or whatever, you know? Or does he own the restaurant?
No.
Boss? I don't know what he is. I don't have a clue what that guy was.
No, I thought when Jerk Guy was on the phone saying something about, I'll get the next one with big tits, he said something along the lines of legal papers or something. So I get the feeling it was more like she was working at a lawyer's office, because he had a lawyer kind of feel to him. So maybe she was a paralegal. Maybe she got another paralegal job.
Yeah, but
we're filling in gaps as best we can.
Yeah, which I wish that there was. Okay, so a problem I have, and this comes to writing, period, is that sometimes the writing is, too on the nose, right? Like or explains too much, but then there's some movies that don't explain enough, like this one.
Which would you rather have, though?
I would have, you want the middle, you want sort of, explain enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it doesn't explain too much, but doesn't explain too little, explains enough where you can go, okay, well, I know that she works as a paralegal, like maybe a scene where she's at work and then she hears about the promotion, things like that. I understand that takes more time and more, it's a like people are trying to make this movie as cheap as possible, so they don't want to have like a scene in office,
right. But the writing part is free. At least it should be free, unless you're hiring out somebody to do it.
And then you can have a scene where it sounds natural, where she's talking to Sam, her best friend, and like, oh man, I really love this paralegal job I have, and I'm about to go up for a promotion, kind of thing like that, where, I guess you can't say paralegal, because then you got to be careful, because then it's just telling the audience too much, and stuff. And it's like, okay, you're now exposition.
Well, yeah, you don't have to say it, but you could show like a 5-second scene where she's in the office, signing off on some paperwork or something.
Yeah.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? My issue is a lot of movies do what I call backfilling. They make the audience have to fill in all these gaps in order for it to make sense. And that, when you have to do a lot of that, it tends to really, really bug me.
You shouldn't have to do any of that, honestly.
No, you shouldn't. But again, in a movie like this where it's kind of cute, I don't mind doing some of that. It's okay. I'm willing to let it go to an extent. But I'm still going to call the movie out on it, though.
As you should, But yeah, honestly, all in all, I had so much of a fun time with this. Like, and I wasn't surprised. Like, I thought I would have a good time, but I wasn't sure. You just never know with indie films these days if it's going to be like, I thought I was going to have a great time with Llamageddon, and it was okay. It wasn't as crazy as it sounds, so
wasn't as good as Barn of the Blood Llama.
It was better, but whatever. Anyway, well, that's another discussion for another day.
We do a lot of llama movies.
We try. Yeah, I mean, there's not enough llama movies out there. They need to make.
There's
more.
Not enough. I mean, if you've been doing them consistently, it sounds like there's quite a few, right?
Technically, there's 2.
Never enough. Never enough llamas.
Two is, I mean, we've done two so far, so I think
in 5 seasons.
I don't know. It's, maybe there's more. I don't know any other.
Yeah, there's Alpocalypse Now we have to do.
Oh God! All right, that sounds like fun.
And they're like little llamas, so there you go.
They're little llamas. All right, all right. But to go back to Bearry, and so the fact that it's a huge freaking killer teddy bear, and they actually pulled it off, where I thought it literally wasn't going to be the teddy bear at all the whole time, and I was going to be really disappointed. I was hoping, but for the longest time he didn't move, and you didn't actually see him for a while. So I thought, is there somebody else killing everybody?
I was hoping it wasn't going to be Magic Teddy Bear, or like, what was that movie we watched where it was the human-sized doll and she never actually did any of the stuff? It was somebody else doing. Yeah, that was a little bit of an issue. It didn't happen.
Yeah, I saw that movie and that bummed me out. I wanted the doll to be the one that was doing the stuff.
You saw the movie? It was like Dollar Tree movie, right? Did you get it from the Dollar Tree, or how did you find it?
No, if we're talking about the same one, I saw it in the theater.
Probably not then. I don't know. We found it at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah,
but
I forget what it was called. But it was
what was it called?
It was about a human-sized doll that it turned out that the guy strangled his own daughter and put her inside of a doll, and
oh no, not the same movie.
She had some curse that made all these weird ghost people show up that didn't even die there, and they were the ones doing stuff.
It was ridiculous. It was called The Devil's Machine.
Devil's Machine.
Yeah.
Interesting. I can only hope that one day one of my movies will be sold at the Dollar Tree. Like that's honestly, that's what I'm aspiring to.
You're working with Donald Farmer. It's gonna happen.
Love it.
Yay. We will be the ones buying it and probably reviewing it. So there you go.
Thank you in advance.
Donald Farmer movies in the past. We're gonna do more Donald Farmer movies in the future.
Exactly. Well, we love Donald. Here, and we know you're working a lot with him. So there you go.
Makes our kind of movies.
Yeah, he is. He's a blast to like hang out with. He's like a family member to me, like at this point, like, and he's so supportive. And if I ever have like questions about like, directors that are totally just creeps, like I can like hit him up and be like, have you heard of this person? And he gives me like honest, good advice. And he sends me like snacks sometimes.
Woohoo! Gotta love that.
He just mails you snacks?
Yes, there's these specific nut like snacks that you can get at certain gas stations where it's got like cranberries and like sugar and salt on the nuts. And anyway, so he'll send me those every once in a while. He's a sweetheart. I love him.
So he sends you nuts.
Snacks.
Actually, don't say that, because Just Jim makes you cookies. So
well, that's true. She does. She's sweet.
So there you go. So
even though I made her watch Miss Werewolf and Neil Green and
all these other movies,
Mummy Cat and all those terrible movies.
We'll have to torture you with some movies, Jessa. Some other ones that are not. This was a very nice way to kind of introduce you to the world of what we do. We usually don't. We usually go much lower.
Well, I was impressed with this movie. Like I got up at literally like 4 a.m. to watch it. And I didn't want to go back to sleep. I was interested.
Do you have any stuffies in your room?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like here's one.
Oh, that's cute.
This is Karopi. I have I actually collect toys. So I have like tons. Here's a fizz gig.
Oh.
Yeah, so I collect toys. So I have toys like all over my house, to the point where when people come over to visit, they're just like, "Oh, how many kids do you have?" And I'm like, "None."
Yeah.
Mine.
Nothing wrong with stuffies.
Are you saying somebody needs to send you Bearry?
Well, I got rid of that bear just recently. Like it was like in storage.
Oh
dear.
Because I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, it literally would take up like half of my couch. Like it was so big. Like I had to get rid of it.
Maybe you got rid of it and maybe it went to Bearry. I don't know.
I almost wish you had kept it, because even if you didn't want it as a bear anymore, you could always take the stuffing out and someone could have gotten in there and used it.
Oh my God. I love it.
So you got to think like a weirdo like me.
Like a furry. right?
There you go. Excellent.
I actually thought that might be where this movie went at one point. I was like,
Well, it almost did.
Yeah, oh yeah, with the rape scene or whatever. I guess the dry hump scene. Which is funny because they did say, the bear tried to rape me and everything or whatever at the end of the movie, and I was like thinking, well, he was just on top of you, like I guess humping,
Yeah.
he wasn't actually like her clothes weren't off or anything, and
Yeah, he didn't seem to have a projectile of any kind.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything down there,
I
Now,
expected at least some weird sexual scene with the bear. Like maybe not like with her doing something with the bear, but maybe her having a sexual experience. Like a guy came over and they slept together next to the bear, and the bear got furious and then like starts stabbing him or something. Like I expected something like that, but I'm kind of sad I didn't get it.
It's interesting because we just covered a movie called Basket Case, which if you haven't seen, you have to see it. But there's similar stuff in there because it's a guy who has his deformed partial brother who's just a sort of a head and a couple of arms and half a torso in a basket, and he's crazy and he goes and he kills people. But Belial goes insanely jealous whenever his brother is getting close to a female, and it's because Belial doesn't have any of those parts, so he can never have that. So he goes psychotically insane to kill everybody, including he even goes after his brother at one point. So I was wondering if that would have been similar to the bear, because the bear doesn't have anything down there either.
Yeah, maybe he's all jealous, like maybe that's why he doesn't like any of the guys, or whatever. But he does kill Sam, Felissa Rose or whatever's character, and that kind of made me sad a little bit. Like
she didn't deserve it either.
She didn't deserve to die. But then again, I mean, she kind of brought the bear, she brought the whole trouble to
She brought the bear, and it's like, if you're a drunk in scary movies, like you're gonna get killed. I don't know what it is.
Although,
it's like to punish all the drinkers.
I'm not 100% sure she is dead, because remember the daughter goes back and she's kind of talking and she doesn't have any blood or any wound or anything. She's just kind of laying there.
I felt like that.
Don't you think that was probably just an oversight?
Yeah, I think that was just an issue with the fact that they didn't have much blood, period, in this movie. I think that was the problem with half the movie, which I saw some of the reviews of this movie, and some of the most of the people thought this was just cute, and you can overlook all the silliness and things that you can't, like the cops and stuff. You just can overlook that, but you can't overlook the no blood or something, or whatever, because when people are going to watch this movie. And the other thing is, they're really disappointed that there was like a shower scenes with no like nudity, really. Like you saw her butt, but like
honestly, I thought that shower scene was like really classy. Like I liked it. I'm a woman though, so like maybe like I have a different take on it. But like they like the camera like panned down and almost to her nippies. Like I thought it was sexy, and it was done in a way that like kept my attention, but it also kept her modesty as an actress. So I thought it was like actually pretty good.
I have to agree. I preferred that as well. I did want to say one thing about the blood and the kills, though, the off-camera kills, or some of the stuff. There are a segment of horror people that's what they go for. They go for the gore, they go for the murders, they go for that. So yeah, that kind of crowd is not going to like this kind of a film. And it's a shame, because you go to something like Killer Clowns from Outer Space, that doesn't really have a whole lot of goriness either, and that's also done in a very cartoony, clowny kind of way, and that's a hugely popular horror film from back in the day. So you don't need to go too much gore.
Well, with the Killer Clowns, what they made up with, from the no blood, they mid like inventive ways for people
evil popcorn.
Yeah, stuff like that, which kind of went with the idea that they weren't gonna, this wasn't gonna be a bloody, gory movie, but it was gonna be fun with the stuff. They had done more of stuff like that, where like maybe everybody that was killed had like stuff like stuffing on them or whatever, things like that, or that's how they got killed, was through stuffing, like that would have been okay. But they tend to make him like actually like a serial killer killing people. And that just kind of, I think, I don't know. That to
Jessa,
me was
please
sort of
tell me you've seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
I have not.
Oh my goodness, you have to get you up here. We have so many movies to show you.
I mean, like, I have so many friends that are so into that movie, and they want to kill me every time I say I haven't seen it.
It's a classic.
I don't even like clowns, but you got to see that one.
I think that's why I avoided it for so long. And it's not because I'm scared of clowns, because I am not, like, at all. Like, it does not, no clowns ever really terrify me. I never had that kind of fear or whatever. But I just never liked clowns. Like, I never liked horror films with clowns. I didn't really. I sort of like it, but I'm not really that big into it. But so I've never been into clowns. And then, so for the longest time, I avoided that movie. But then I saw it, at the Arrow table at a horror convention. I was like, everybody keeps telling me that this is a classic. I got to buy it and I got to check it out. And I watched it. And I thought it was the most fun movie I've ever seen in my life. It was just utterly ridiculous and silly and fun. And, I liked it. Once again, none of the clown stuff scared me. But I think that was what I just wasn't a fan of clowns. So,
Right.
or whatever.
But I think that's kind of the route that the Bearry folks wanted to go. Something that is obviously silly, but also had some scares and some blood and some killing and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it could have been worked on a little bit better.
Yeah. But I think that can be said about most indie films, I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
I guarantee you more indie film directors and actors and everybody, done think like they could have done better,
Sure.
with everything.
Once the money runs out, you've got what you've got.
Yeah. You can't, it's not like Marvel or Disney or whatever. They can just go out and do reshoots to make everybody happy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like we can't do that in the indie world. We have to, and then people always view indie films like they're Hollywood. And I laugh at that because these are,
you can't.
You can't.
I think part of the thing too is that right now content is king, and it doesn't really matter how good it is, I have to say, when you've got Netflix and Tubi and all these other ones who are just buying stuff up left and right. We just saw that one whole thing, Bigfoot versus Krampus. There's a whole slew of those movies, and they're all terrible. They didn't put much effort or thought behind any of them, but they got on there. So I think they're looking for just about anything, and that tends to say to filmmakers, you don't necessarily have to put out your best effort or have the biggest budget. We'll find a home for your work.
Well, that becomes a problem, because then everybody's looking for an indie film that they want to watch, and then they find crap, and
well, that's why we're here, to help guide them.
Yeah, but sometimes, like, there's good, like, I love crappy movies, like, you know what I mean? Like, that right. They're entertaining in a whole different way. You can complain about all kinds of stuff, but are you still watching it? You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
The only thing I don't like when an indie movie, it just gets off like on too much story, like where it's just like, oh, that could have been cut, that could have been cut, that could have been cut. Like, if like the story could be condensed, that's the only thing that bothers me. But just shitty mishaps and continuity errors and all of that, like, give it all to me. Like, I love it.
Hey, Moody, at least it wasn't all a dream.
Oh God, yes, thank God.
That's such a cop out.
I know. Well, and there's been one movie, and I won't say what it is, but it actually starred Felissa Rose, that actually had a dream, like it's all a dream, and it worked. And I talked to the director about it, and I was like, I usually hate that, and Paul knows this. Like, that's like that's my kryptonite, is like when they wake up and they say it's all a dream and shit like that.
Die Hard Dracula got him so angry.
Oh God, because I was going to give it a good grade. I was going to give it a good rating. And then it because of that, just fucking killed it, man. And a lot of times a ending can make or break a movie. You don't realize how powerful an ending actually is until somebody watches it and then they go, I fucking hate that movie now, because of that. So
it's the last impression that you got.
I know. So
it's like a ruined orgasm. That's how I think of it, is like the dream thing. Because it's just like, okay, so where is this going? Where is this going? Where are we going to end up? And then it's just like, oh, you just gave me a cop out here. It's just like, there's,
exactly.
It's like not good.
And it's like, I went through all of this for nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Basically it gives you literal blue balls, or whatever, figurative blue balls, and shit. And this kind of sucks, like, sometimes. So, but this movie, thankfully, had I thought, a pretty good ending. They blew up the fucking bears, whatever. And then
how did the bear catch on fire that quick though? Like, was it made out of like super flammable materials? I was like, she just literally lit a lighter and then it just. And wouldn't she have gotten like 3rd-degree burns?
Yeah, probably.
See, you're thinking again, Jess. Don't be thinking.
I'm just saying.
Well, no, you're absolutely right, and that did kind of bother me, is like, because it looked fake the whole time when she did it anyway, and I was like, because they're not going to blow up the bear for real, or whatever, because you only get one shot of that,
True.
That's, you know what I mean. If you blow up that bear, unless you bought another bear, that looks just like that one or whatever, you're not gonna destroy that bear.
Well, know those guys. Ask them if the bear is still around.
I guess we'll have to get them on Indie Film Cafe Spotlight.
There you
and
go.
Ask them some questions about them. Yeah, ask them some questions, because I'd like to know: is that bear still around? Is that bear? Did you actually destroy it? I don't know.
I obsess.
Did they give it to the Goodwill? Like, we need answers.
I obsess over things like that. I obsessed over the roller gator puppet forever. I'm still trying to find it.
It's gone, buddy.
I know. Oh no, I still hold on to my little shredlings of hope.
But yeah, so and that's the thing, and I'm sad to hear that your Bearry is gone. Because that makes me sad too. Because there's. Did the strap-on go with it, or did it just that end up somewhere else?
I threw that away. Like, I figured I probably shouldn't I sell all of my things at like a consignment shop, so that's probably where Bearry went. No one probably knows that it was used in the type of video that it was used in, and so it might be in some child's bedroom right now. Like, I don't know, like, where
they Bearry do now.
If they see this and they know that they bought like a bear from like a local store called The Abyss, then it's probably Bearry. But
Moody,
I threw the strap on right out.
You know what we got to do now? We got to buy 4 of them, take the stuffing out, get some actors in there, and then give them ninja stuff so they could be ninja bears.
Ninja bears. Jesus
Christ. That's the next movie.
I know. Well, that sounds like a Donald Farmer movie right there.
Yeah, Ninja Bears from Hell.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Talk to Donald. We'll help co-write it.
That's right.
And everything. All right. Well, I guess it is that time where we do our stinkometer. And Paul, explain to everybody, since I normally explain it, but you're here, so you can explain it.
So Indie Film Cafe, we use the stinkometer to sort of rate our film. We give it a number score from 1 to 10, by which the lower the number, the less of the stink, and the higher the number, the greater the stink. Think of your stinky Limburger cheese and how strong and powerful that could be. So that's what we do, and we rate it 1 to 10, and then we count up the scores that our 3 judges have given, and then we add it up and then figure out what was the stinkiest movie of the season.
And so we're going to be doing that for 31 Days of Indie Horror as well, and everything. So that'll be fun. And that'll be in the Indie Film Cafe like ending thing as well, and so that's going to be
the ladder of stink is getting larger. It's
going to get larger, but so also you could do a half step, so you could do 0.5 as well. If you feel like you need to do 0.5. So I'll let you go first, Paul.
Okay. Well, speaking of half step, I am going to give a half step because obviously this movie does have a lot of stink, but it was also a lot of fun. I'm going to go 6.5, 6.5.
Okay. What about you, Jessa? What do you say?
Wait, okay. So the higher the number, the less, the stinkier?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is like being generous, but I was only going to give it like a 2.5. Like, I thought like it wasn't stinking up my house. Like, I was like into the movie. There was a lot of like problems, like you said, but I thought like it was very entertaining.
Now you have to understand too that even though we think a movie is stinky, that doesn't mean that we don't like it. That in fact means that we like it a whole lot more. So especially me, I just don't like movies that are meh. I want a reaction one way or the other. Either I really, really liked it or I really, really thought it was trash. But either way, I was entertained. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sort of going to go in between both of you guys. I'm going to say 4 because I I really like enjoyed it. But it does. I mean, there were problems with the movie, right? There were, issues involving the just random issues that they had or whatever, continuity issues, but different stuff that we all said. And with that being said, I think it wasn't, high up in the stink, but also wasn't like a one for me or something. But it's something I would watch this movie again. If somebody wanted to watch this or whatever, hell, I didn't watch it by myself. I want a DVD copy of this movie if there is one.
We could show this to Just Jen.
Yeah, this is something that's not too. It's not too gross or too weird or too.
I mean, she still might punch me in the shoulder, but it's okay. I think she'd be all right with it.
Actually, I think she'd be completely fine with it. I think she'd think it was cute, and that's the thing. Like, this movie was cute and had moments where I just really enjoyed it. John Ward always asks me, because he always hears that I say things are cute. He's like, I want to know if you ever pick a movie that's cute. This would be something I recommend him for seeing that. I think, hopefully he wouldn't say it's a 10, because he, it's a little harsher rating than
John Ward is a little weird. I don't know. You never know with him.
Yeah.
For me, it was cute, and I get all that. It's just this could have been so much better. This could have been a home run, and part of me just wishes that a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, a little bit more money had been spent. And I get it, indie film, you do the best you can with what you've got. It's just they were so close to making this like a classic. This could have been a classic.
Could have been. It could have been a cult classic kind of thing, but
right.
It had its moments, and like I said before, it had a what the fuck attitude at first, but then it just sort of didn't go there, didn't go as far as it could have gone, especially with the fact that it's about a killer bear, stuffed bear. Like, that's just to me, my favorite parts were him walking around, like I wanted more of that
and getting really upset and animated.
It's like in this genre, we know movies where they have gone. Like, if you've ever seen any of the Killer Bunny movies where the guys in the bunny suits running around killing people, they go there. They may not necessarily be better movies, but they at least, there's a lot more blood and guts and violence and stuff, and it's not CGI.
Right. Well, and once again, I think a lot of the CGI also was to do with the fact that, they don't want to get the blood on the bear, or they don't want to, maybe they didn't want to fuck up the houses that they were at, and stuff like that. Like,
maybe they didn't have enough stunt bears.
Probably not. I mean, like that.
Bring out the fluffer bear.
I don't know how much. Oh God. I don't know how much that bear costs, but probably a lot.
Mine was $100, and it wasn't quite as big as that one.
So that one
was quite big.
Probably 200 or something.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's
250.
That's a pretty good, amount of money for a prop. That, I mean, it was a character in the movie, but still, it was all right. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was cute, and I think, I would watch this again and again. Not like over and over, like, whatever, but I mean, I show this to Jackie and she'd be like, what the hell?
I would love to hear on Indie Film Cafe Spotlight, either the director or the writer, and just give me some details about some of the things. For example, if they bought that bear, could they have used it? I mean, is there like an intellectual property thing if you didn't make that bear and somebody else made it? You know what I mean? Or did they get somebody to make it for them? Who knows?
But they probably did get someone to make it for them, because they had like a matching bear costume. It was like almost it was pretty spot on, I thought, other than like it missing the bow and all that. But
yeah, like that was the only thing that bothered me, was just the bow was gone at one point or whatever, and I was just like, and then it was back on again, or whatever. I'm like, does he just take the bow off?
It was a naked bear at that point.
Yeah, was he just taking the bow off? Like, I guess, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't kill with the bow on.
That would have been kind of a fun thing where you get to see him go like, okay, it's serious. And he takes the bow off and throws it at him.
I would have loved for the bear to talk, except for saying, I love you very much. Like, I would love to see that thing, get angry and start talking like Chucky, or whatever style. That would have been awesome. But unfortunately, like when he got mad, he was like, all right, yeah, this is serious.
I would have given him a breath weapon. I would have had him so that he could open up his mouth and shoot out stuffing, and then the stuffing was like acidic, and it like, boiled people's faces and things.
Yeah,
I like the way you think.
Yeah. See, you're
Most
saving.
people are frightened by the way I think.
I think maybe you're setting up for sequel ideas. If they ever do Bearry 2.
You know me, I'm full of ideas. Not all of them are good, but there's a lot of ideas.
Bearry versus the reptilians. Like I want to see that. Like I want to see the reptilian, like thing, because they're gonna mention that, in the movie. I'm like, there's got to be a plan for that or something.
There you go. There's Bearry's atonement. Maybe he and some of his bear buddies can help fight the reptilians.
Well, he died though, so it'd have to be a new bear. You know
how it is. Does Michael Myers really die? No.
It's Jessa's bear, okay? It's Jessa's Bearry that comes out and, takes over.
My Bearry was a sweetheart, okay?
There you go.
He knew how to treat a lady right.
He was very loving. There you go. Well, thank you so much, both of you guys. I adored this, and Jessa, thank you so much. This is going to be out in October, so it's a long time away, and I usually do this ahead of time so that I don't have to do this every day or something, like once a day. That would drive me nuts. But I like to do this ahead of time, and so I'm very grateful that you came on. But okay, so think of like the future of what it's going to be, like what will be out by the time, hopefully by the time that this comes out, that you've done.
As far as my movies go?
Yes, as far as your films go that you're working on right now.
You never know.
It's always
true.
Right now you can get Cannibal Hookers, obviously.
Nice.
That isn't the first movie I was in, though. I was actually in Space Babes from Outer Space. I just had a small part. That's available. There is also the Reunion from Hell. That's available. Hopefully Bigfoot Exorcist will be out by October. And I'm really hoping that Slumber Party Slaughter Party 2 will be out.
I really want to see that too, because you worked with Angel, our Angel from, we've had her on the show a lot.
We love Angel Bradford. We love it.
Yeah, she's such a sweetheart.
I'm a little bit in love with her. Like, honestly, I think that if we teamed up, we'd be unstoppable.
You should team up, like I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet.
Well, she was supposed to come up and do a stinky movie onesie party with us, and that was gonna happen. We were gonna do God, was it 12 movies in 24 hours? But then her schedule got in the way, so we had to put it off for a little bit, but it's gonna happen.
That sounds awesome.
She's always, I bought a onesie for her. She better freaking come and do that thing.
Because we were telling her about all these ridiculous movies that we watch. She's like, well, I want to see that, and I want to see that. I'm like, well, come on over.
She's so insanely talented too. Like, it should be noted that, like, I'm not sure what her background is in acting or like theater or whatever, but like whenever I finally worked with her, I was just shocked at how well she emotes. Like, she's a brilliant actress, and I think she's gonna do a million things.
I'm right there with you. When she came up and did some work for us, I was very impressed with her.
Yeah, she was such a sweetheart. Very easy to, like, you didn't have to direct her. Like I directed her, and I didn't have to tell her. Like, she would ask me, "Am I doing okay?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." Like I let people know. Like, generally, if I don't like something, I'll be like, can you do it like this or a little like that? You know what I mean? I switch it up a little bit. If I don't give you a direction, that usually means you're doing exactly what I need you to do. As an actress, you probably know this though, but sometimes actresses want the people to constantly be telling them if they're doing good or doing bad. Yeah. I'm just not like that. I will just, if I really don't want something, I'll let you know. But, if I'm telling you that you need to switch something up, maybe you are doing something bad. If I have to constantly tell you that, then there might be a problem. But generally speaking, when I'm directing the other girls, I'm like, Kate Phoenix, her working with her, those two were just great together.
Yeah, and they both stayed at my place, and they were both fabulous. Never had a problem with them. Everything was great.
Yeah,
I could do no wrong. They were really great. It was fun working with them.
Yeah, so I don't know if you got to work with Kate yet or not, but
I have not.
I'm sure you will someday.
I hope so.
I know, because look at you, you're just keep getting put in movies and stuff. We've got to get you back on at some point to do a Indie Film Cafe spotlight episode where we interview you as well.
Okay,
you've got so much going on.
But the answer is
all right,
and definitely book her for a couple of episodes this year for season 5. She can roll right into Indie Film Cafe
if she feels like it. Did you have a good time doing this review?
I did. I had a blast, and I love the movie. You picked the most perfect movie for me, so I don't know if it can happen again, but I'd be willing to see if it does.
Well, you said you really like stinky bad movies, and Paul knows a lot of those, so the next one might be a really bad one. I'm usually the nicer one. Sometimes I'm not, but most of the time I'm the nicer guy picking
you got to finally talk to the moo cow and see I'm weird, but I'm not crazy weird. I'm not an expert.
I love it. I love the whole shtick. I mean, I have a cow bikini costume. Oh.
I think you've seen that, Paul. I'm sure. Because I think you pimped it out once, Jessa.
I did. I posted a few of those pictures, but they're mostly on my OnlyFans. But
I didn't sleep.
That's such a cute costume that when I saw that, I was like, I even tried to find an udder fanny pack because I thought that would have been so cool, but they don't make those. Imagine that.
What? They should. Paul,
I know.
You need to do that. You need to make
I'll give you a hint. I have gone on Halloween parties dressed as a cow multiple times, of course. And usually I get a Playtex living glove and I fill it with water or milk or something and I tie it up and then I tie it around me. It's 5 hands for udders.
That's perfect.
Yeah. What was I going to say? You usually have your onesie too, which actually has the cow onesie, which actually has udders on it. So,
Yep.
Well, I have 2 onesies. So next time I can wear a onesie.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You need to come out for our thing with Angel, at some point.
I'm
down. Onesie party, hang out and watch stinky movies with us and do that. We'll bring you right in because you fit in pretty well with our stuff. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yay.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching this episode. Join us tomorrow for a whole new episode. I don't even know what's coming next. So, you guys will have
stick around to find out.
I know. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.
Bye.